That voice in your head that takes everything personally. What if I told you it's been rewriting reality this whole time? And you can catch it in the act. Right now, as you're listening to this, something fascinating is happening in your mind. You're not just hearing my words, you're automatically deciding what they mean about you. Whether this feels helpful or threatening. Whether I'm someone worth listening to or someone who doesn't get it. And here's the thing. None of those decisions are based on what I'm actually saying. They're based on stories your mind is writing faster than you can track. We're going to explore how our minds constantly distort what we perceive, turning neutral events into personal attacks or threats. More importantly, we'll discover why recognizing this pattern changes everything. Because when you realize that your emotional reactions are coming from stories your mind is writing about what's happening, not from what's actually happening, you suddenly have a choice you didn't know existed. Let me paint you a picture. Your coworker walks past your desk without saying good morning. Within seconds, your mind becomes this overeager translator at the United Nations. Except instead of translating languages, it's translating a simple non-event into a full dramatic narrative. They're mad about yesterday's meeting. I knew that comment came out wrong. They'd probably think I'm incompetent. Feel familiar? Your body is already responding. That slight tightness in your chest, the way your shoulders creep up toward your ears. You're replaying yesterday's meeting, scanning for the moment you messed up. You're crafting defenses against accusations no one has made. You're having entire conversations in your head with someone who simply walked by. But here's what actually happened. A person moved from point A to point B. That's it. Everything else, the conflict, the judgment, the need to defend yourself, that's all coming from your internal translator who never just lets you experience what happened. It always adds commentary, context, meaning. And that commentary feels so real that we mistake it for reality itself. Once you start noticing this translator, you can't unsee it. It's there when your partner doesn't respond to your text immediately. Suddenly they're upset, or losing interest, or punishing you for something. It's there when your boss schedules an unexpected meeting. Obviously you're in trouble, about to be fired. They've discovered that mistake from 3 months ago. The translator works so fast, so automatically, that we don't even realize there was a translation. We think we're responding to what happened, but we're actually responding to the story our mind wrote about what happened. And these stories all have one thing in common: they make everything about us. Everything becomes evidence of our worth or worthlessness, proof that we're loved or rejected, safe or threatened. Think about the last time you felt really upset about something someone did or didn't do. Can you separate what actually happened, the bare facts, from the meaning your translator assigned to it? It's harder than it sounds, because the translation happens so quickly it feels like perception itself. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you realize your mind has been telling you stories all day, that's the moment everything can shift. Because suddenly there's space. Space between what happens and what your mind says it means. Space to question the translator instead of automatically believing every dramatic interpretation it offers. That coworker who didn't say good morning. Maybe they were running late. Maybe they were lost in thought about their sick parent. Maybe they didn't even see you. The translator never considers these options because they're not about you. And the translator's job is to make everything about you. When you start asking, what actually happened? Instead of believing, "What story am I telling myself?" something remarkable occurs. The emotional charge begins to dissolve, not because you're forcing yourself to think positive thoughts, but because you're seeing clearly for the first time. You're distinguishing between the event and your interpretation of the event. We spend our days carrying the weight of imaginary conflicts. We're exhausted from defending ourselves against attacks that never happened, solving problems that don't exist, managing relationship crises that are entirely in our heads. Our translator has us in constant emergency mode, responding to threats it invented. But when you catch the translator in the act, when you see it adding drama to neutral events, there's this immediate lightness. It's like setting down a backpack you didn't realize you were wearing. Suddenly you're not responsible for managing everyone's imagined opinions of you. You're not required to defend yourself against fictional accusations. This isn't about becoming passive or not caring what happens around you. It's about recognizing that most of our emotional suffering comes not from what happens, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what happens. When you can see the difference, you're free to respond to what's actually there instead of shadowboxing with your own projections. Imagine moving through your day without the constant commentary. Someone's late to meet you, they're late. That's all. Your email doesn't get an immediate response. The email is sitting in an inbox. Your friend seems quiet, they're being quiet. No hidden meanings, no personal attacks, no evidence of your worth or worthlessness. At first, this might feel strange, even vulnerable. We're so used to our translator providing instant meaning for everything that experiencing events without the narrative overlay can feel exposed. But what emerges in that space is profound. The ability to respond rather than react, to see clearly rather than through the fog of our projections. You start to notice how much energy you've been spending on fictional conflicts, how much creativity you've poured into imagining worst-case scenarios, how much of your day you've spent defending yourself against your own thoughts. And as you let these imaginary battles go, something else becomes possible: actual connection, genuine response, real presence. Because when you're not busy translating everything into a story about you, you can actually see other people. You can respond to what they're actually expressing rather than what you think they're secretly thinking. You can be present to life as it's actually unfolding rather than the dramatic version your mind is producing. The translator will still be there. It's not going anywhere. But now you know its voice. You can hear when it starts its dramatic interpretations. And in that recognition is freedom. Freedom to question the narrative. Freedom to return to what's actually happening. Freedom to carry only the weight of reality, not the added burden of all your mind's embellishments. This is the beginning of seeing clearly, not through the filter of personal threat or validation, but simply seeing what is. And in that clear seeing, you might discover that most of what you've been defending against was never there to begin with. Before we move into the meditation, if this is helping you, you're welcome to like the video and subscribe. It's a simple way to keep practicing together. Let's take a moment to rest in what we've discovered. Find a comfortable position, letting your body settle however it wants to settle. There's no special way you need to sit or be. Allow your breath to find its own rhythm. No need to control it or breathe in any particular way. Just let breathing happen the way it knows how to happen. Notice any stories arising right now about whether you're doing this right. The translator might be active even here, adding commentary. That's okay, we're not trying to stop it. We're just noticing. Feel your body in this chair, in this space. The simple fact of being here. No story needed, just the weight of your body, the air on your skin, the sounds around you. If your mind starts writing stories about those sounds, what they mean, whether they should be there, just notice. Oh, there's the translator again. Adding meaning where none is needed. Rest in the space before the story. The moment before interpretation, where things simply are what they are. Your breathing continues. Your heart beats. Life moves through you. All of this happening without any narrative required. Notice how much is actually okay in this moment when we're not adding stories. The simple okayness of being here. Breathing. Existing. If you notice tension anywhere, in your shoulders, your jaw, your belly, see if you can let it soften. This tension often comes from carrying those imaginary conflicts. You can set them down now. Rest in the quiet space between thoughts, between stories, where you don't have to defend anything or figure anything out. Just for these few moments, there's nothing to translate, nothing to interpret, just the simple experience of being. When you're ready, take a deeper breath. Feel your body here in this space. And as you open your eyes, see if you can carry just a little of this simplicity with you. The knowing that beneath all the stories, things are often much simpler than our translator would have us believe. Thank you for being here and practicing together. If you'd like, you can find a free digital ACIM resource in the description. And if you want to mark the moment, a simple comment such as, "I am grateful," is welcome. Thank you for taking this time to question the stories with me. As you move through your day, you might notice the translator getting active again, adding its commentary, creating its dramas. That's okay. Now you know its voice. Be gentle with yourself as you practice seeing the space between what happens and the stories about what happens. Until next time, may you find moments of clarity between the narratives.